Welcome, Pisces. G didn't forget about you. I saved the best for the last. So here we go. Pisces ascendant, Pisces rising. I've got you in front of me. I'm looking at your grid, seeing the lines. I'm seeing the beauty. I'm seeing the abundance. First, we're going to talk about the September new moon. And then we're going to go into the October full moon. The trick is, for the month of October, there are 2 full moons. 2. And they're both going to be important. And the second one will be quite powerful. This video won't be about that. This is looking at Pisces. This is understanding the powers of the new moon, the powers of intentions, of prayer, of wishing, of working with the cosmos, working with the energetic frequencies that are coming through, that are supplying, working with the flow, getting up on that board and sailing with it. We're going to find out where is your earth energy, Pisces. Earth energy. Think about this. Earth energy is Taurus, is Virgo, is Capricorn. A new moon in Virgo energies. Virgo trines Taurus, Virgo trines Capricorn, Capricorn trines Taurus. A nice grand earth trine. Sun, moon together. Bam, new moon power time. Where is this power in your life? We're going to check it out because Virgo is all about my work projects, my health projects, my daily routines. Virgo is all about alternative things. Virgo is very crafty. Virgo is the how to do that. Connecting the dots. That's Virgo energy. It says that's the goal. That's what we want to accomplish. That's the vision. I see the steps that it's going to take to get there. That is Virgo energy. It has universal frequency support coming through from those that are in charge of the big corporate structures, those that make the decisions, those in government. For folks who are waiting, who are in the US, like, okay, are we getting a stimulus? Is that coming through? Are they still fighting, feuding, whatever it is they're doing? Have they made up their mind yet? And Virgo is all about the how-to, the everyday realities of my life. Can I use this? Is it something that is functional? Is it something I can apply to my everyday life? That is Virgo energy, is opposite of your energy. This is Piscean energy, and this is Virgo energy. So if you're Pisces rising, the Virgo energy is over here in your 7th house. And the 7th house is those I'm in partnerships with. Partnerships can be business, marriage, can be significant one-on-one relationships. Anytime you're consulting somebody, that's considered the 7th house energy, partnership energy, because we're talking one-on-one, we're relating. It's just between you and I. Virgo energy is my work in those areas, my projects in those areas. So my spouse's projects, my partner's projects. We're going to line this all up. We're going to put it all together. We're going to bring it all in, and make it make sense. That is a Virgo theme. Make it make sense. You, Pisces ascendant, Pisces rising. Okay, what I love about this for you is that you have, not far away, you have Taurus energy in your 3rd house. Your 3rd house is your talking, thinking, speaking, communicating, and relating. Now, this is an earth energy, and this is important to know. It's important because Uranus is activated right now. Uranus is Uranus in the sign of Taurus. And this is the money, this is the income, this is our tangible resources, this is our values, who we value, what we value, who we love, what we love. Do we love ourselves? This is a nice supportive energy to your ascendant, Pisces. Taurus is over here, Pisces is over here. When they talk and communicate, they relate in ways where they get it. They understand each other. They each want beauty. They each want peace. They each want all of us to just get along. They understand one another. Taurus and Pisceans understand one another. They're very compatible. Taurus in your 3rd house, it's the way you think, it's the way you relate, way you communicate. This is siblings, this is coworkers, this is networking, so money. So when we talk about your 3rd house and your Taurus energies, this is ways of making money. Now, I'm talking about your 3rd house because it's your earth energy. Now, where else do we have earth energy in your chart? We're going to take a look. We've got it in house number 3. We've got it in house number 7, Virgo, that I already talked about, which was on your descendant, which is your partnerships. And the last location for earth energy is Capricorn, 11th house. Number 11, 11th house represents group energy. It's your friends. Now, I love the 11th house whenever we talk about it because the 11th house is the internet. And the internet, because here I am on the internet, I'm doing YouTube, and YouTube is on the internet. Astrology, 11th house astrology. But because it's Capricorn energy, it is all about structured groups, organized groups. It's the boss energy. It's work energy. It's career energy. So working in groups in your career, working possibly as the boss of groups. This is how you can combine and weave those meanings together. Now, if you want to get more details out of this, your personal chart can tell you this by finding out where your natal Saturn is located. Now, I know that may be going too deep right there. And if that is, that's fine. We don't have to discuss it any further. But if you're interested and if you already have your own chart and you're like, gee, I've got my chart in front of me. I know where my Saturn is. It's in this house, in this sign. You can leave that information for me down below, and then I can give more information to you. I can say, okay, if you have Saturn at this location, then I can tell you what that means. And those words that I give you at that point, you can place in that 11th house. That's how it works. You follow the energetic bread trail, the energetic crumbs. It's all over the chart like that. And if you can read and learn how to connect the dots, another Virgo quality, you get the greater meaning of the things. That new moon energy is really focusing in on your significant one-on-one relationships. Your significant one-on-one relationships, that's where your 7th house is. And that's where the Virgo new moon is at 25 degrees. So when we take a look at that, it's really, if you look at it, it makes sense because it's a trine with your 3rd house, which is your Taurus energy, okay? And that's your money. And this is, this could be, you could work with siblings. It's a coworker location. It's the salesperson location. It is all about people in my immediate environment. But when we talk about the weaving of those 3 houses together, because it's going to be this beautiful grand earth trine energy. And so grand earth trine means there will be this ease that's set up for you. And I want you to focus it on your relationships. So this could be most definitely business partnerships, because this is when you have Virgo in the 7th house. I know I already spoke about this, but I'm just going to say this, okay? A lot of people who have Virgo in their 7th house, when they're married, it's almost like you look at the marriage and you wonder, wow, it almost seems like it's lacking in romance, because it's, it doesn't have to be. I mean, that's not I'm not making a blanket statement that means that, but there's a certain amount of compatibility and function and working on projects together, because that's Virgo. So there's this, we work together really well type of thing. And that's a beautiful placement actually for a marriage, because all that honeymoon and fireworks, there's a certain amount of that is so Hollywood, right? I mean, it's all beautiful and it's lovely, but that is not what it takes, right? That's not the meat and potatoes of a relationship. It takes so much more for a relationship, for a commitment, for a partnership to last, for the longevity. And for the longevity, you need a lot of Virgo qualities. You need a lot of, okay, can we work together on this? Whatever that together is. Okay, so whether it's in a marriage, you could have children, right? There's the whole home situation. There's, religion. There's schooling. There's like all these other things. There's the handling of money. Just the handling of money alone, people have gotten divorced over. So it's simply, are we compatible? Can we work together, right? Because when the going gets tough, it comes down to, okay, can we put our heads together? And someone having that quality in that 7th house is, yes, a Virgo is a person who can say, I'm going to look at it from all these different perspectives, and I'm going to consider your words. I'm going to consider your perspectives. I can see the details. There's just this beautiful possibility for partnerships, and they're going to be based on the ability to work together, the ability to be able to say, this is the project, this is the goal, these are the steps that we need to get there. Can we do it? Can we both do it? And if that happens, this will be lovely. It could be very profitable because it involves all the earth stuff. You're really focusing on relationships. Relationships, so that could be marriage. Relationships, so that could be business partnerships. Relationships of any kind, Okay, anytime it's a one-on-one, it's a me and you thing, it's relationship. So if you are somebody who has been struggling with one-on-ones, okay, some people do really good with the group. Some people do wonderful with their friends and having a great time, and they feel safe around the public, right? When it comes to the one-on-one, they get uncomfortable. One-on-ones, it's like you don't have any buffers. One-on-ones, you can't hide behind somebody else, right? When you're talking to somebody one-on-one, they have a much greater chance and a much greater opportunity to, it's more personal. And so if people aren't really comfortable with who they are, the uncomfortableness becomes really apparent, and that becomes extremely awkward. It becomes hard to deal with. That you are working with the frequencies of the energies of the planets, of the cosmos, and you are saying to the universe, this is what I want. This is what I need going forward in my life, because this is going to have so much to do with your tangible world, which means your money, your income, your resources, your tangible security. Yeah, that's based a lot on our emotional security, but linking it up with a career and with ambitions, right? Your ambitions and your careers have to do with people, because that's your 11th house. So use your intentions. You have the time of all the earth is lined up. It's that trine energy. It's lined up beautifully. And I want you to focus on that for yourself. If you want clarity on that, you could always just comment below to me and I will get to you. September, okay, after the new moon occurs, end of September, okay? And this is why this new moon is important. Because at the end of September, the Saturn, okay, Saturn is going to be standing still. Now, Saturn standing still is all about Capricorn energy. So all the things I already talked about when we talked about Capricorn, which is structures in our world, but big structures, structures that took a long time to build up, right? So you think of, religions, right? They've been built up over long periods of time. Government been built up over long periods of time. Our banking system, right? Our monetary system, big businesses, right? They started really small, they got up and they're really big. Anything that's been built up over a long period of time, right? Think of the goat climbing up that hill, having to take each step. The goat doesn't move very fast, but the goat makes it to the top of the hill. The goat may seem very unappealing, stands there and does its work, does that whole zigzag thing to go up like this crazy incline. That's like, how is that possible? But the goat does it. Some way, somehow it does it. And that is it. It's something you keep persistently working at. It is not a sprint by any means. Matter of fact, in the sign of Capricorn, being in your 11th house, if you tried to sprint in groups, if you tried to sprint with your friends, what that means, if you find a ways where you can somehow just hurry up and be friends with somebody, right? You can kind of rush through it. You cannot rush through it. Matter of fact, having Capricorn in your 11th house means it may have been very, very, very much later on in life before you felt you could be around a group that you could call your own. A group where you were like, yeah, those are my friends. Because when Capricorn is somewhere, or Saturn, they're interchangeable. Capricorn or Saturn are interchangeable. Wherever they are in a person's life, wherever they are in a person's chart, it is that area of your life where it's going to be a really slow go. There's no rush. Because if you take a rush, if you try to take a shortcut, because you recognize it's going so slow, you'll get put back to the back of the line again, and you'll be asked to start at step 1, right? You were at step 20, you only had 20 more to go or 30 more to go, but then you cheated or you took a shortcut. You were told, hey, you broke a rule, you broke a law, and then you got put all the way back to step 1. Recognizing that if you just are persistence, perseverance, right? And you're methodical and you don't give up. Capricorn in your 11th house says, I'm not giving you anything immediately. This is a long process. I am teaching you how to be persistent. I'm teaching you how to persevere. Okay. And that is what that is. And that is, the 11th house is the internet. So when I spoke earlier about the Taurus energy in your 3rd house, which is also social media, right? So that's part of the internet. Taurus can be very slow going because Taurus tends to be methodical. It doesn't like to rush towards things, and it likes to be comfortable. So if there has been resistance about doing things on the internet or social media, you have the trine, you have the universe right now supporting you and saying, have a go at it. Give it a try, but remember, just do baby steps, okay? This is a marathon. But this is why this is important, because now Saturn, who is in Capricorn in your 11th house, is going to be standing still. So when Saturn stands still, its energy, when any planet stands still, its energy becomes very strong. Now, we also had Jupiter on the 13th of this month standing still. And so you might have noticed a little bit of a difference in terms of groups and friendships in your 11th house that happen. This is all happening in your 11th house, by the way. The 11th house is also your uniqueness in the world. It's how you stand out. Your 11th house energy isn't just groups, but it's also your humanitarian thoughts and ideas. So having organized groups and functions, like I have a friend I know who's a Pisces ascendant, although she actually has a lot of Aries energy in her first house. And so for her, having Capricorn in her 11th house at her job, it's been very trying. It's been very difficult because for her, that Capricorn energy in groups gives you this feeling and this sense of, you know, the right way to do things when it comes to the group. You are almost considered the authority figure, right? You're the one at the top. You're the one who knows how it should be functioning. But just because you know how it should be functioning doesn't mean you're recognized as the person who knows how it should be functioning. It can be very frustrating, actually, because here you are with all this wealth, all this wisdom that you came in with, and at the same time, you're in a place, whether it's a job or, you know, we can all have groups, right? Groups with our friends, groups at the job, groups within our family, and then, you know, those little groups that break off within those, like the little cliques type of thing. But this is definitely professional world groups. And in this professional world grouping, you see, right, abuses, you see mismanagement, you see how this isn't the way it should be. And that's frustrating as heck because Capricorn in that 11th house placement, it's that humanitarian thing. So in other words, you have very, very high ideals in the way that government should function, in the way that structures should happen, in a way that bosses should be, and like what their responsibilities are. And that's another big Capricorn / Saturn word: responsibilities within a group, responsibilities within a professional group, right? And I have to use those really broad terms because, well, responsibilities within a professional group, that could mean a million different things, right? That could mean the same thing. That definition covers the person that's over there working at Amazon, professional group, right? That could also cover the same person who works within a church, right? There's a business behind that church, okay? And so we have these two groups, these two businesses, right? Because for groups to function, there has to be this element of order and structure. There has to be an incoming, there has to be a receiving, there has to be a going out, a product, right? People have to get something for what they're paying for. There has to be all that finagled and then all the politics that's all involved with that and how people are being treated or not. This is that. And so Saturn standing direct at the end of the month will happen in your 11th house, which is your boss energy, which is your professional group energy, which has everything to do with the earth energy, with the earth trine that I asked you to set an intention and a prayer for, okay? Because you're really trying to utilize that. Now, the beauty is that when Saturn stands still, Saturn sends another supportive beam to your new moon intention because it's at the same degree. And when it's at the same degree and in the same sign, or I should say in the same energy, Earth, it trines. So when Saturn stands still, likely there will be a change. You will see a change, whether it's in your one-on-one important relationships, because that's where you set the wishes, right? And so Saturn standing still is like, okay, we talked about it, we put it on paper, now it's time to take action because it's standing still. And so anytime a planet stands still, we can notice the difference. We'll see a change of some sort. And again, because it's Saturn, it's all about the rules, it's all about the structures, it's all about we're going to establish order and organize and responsibilities, which mean your responsibilities may be heavier, which means it makes sense, right? If someone says, hey, these are the rules, and all of a sudden the rules weren't being followed, and all of a sudden someone higher up comes along and says, but these are the rules and now we're going to follow them, or these are the consequences. Then all of a sudden you're left with, well, if I don't want to suffer from those consequences, I might as well go ahead and take care of my responsibilities, and I might as well follow the rules, which are your responsibilities. And then all of a sudden that feels heavier, okay? It feels as though, okay, wow, I'm doing more than I had to do before. However, an order is set into place. And that order, that structure that's set into place is beneficial for the long term. Even if we don't see it for the short term, it's a benefit for the long term because that is Saturn. Remember when I tried telling you and talking about Capricorn / Saturn energy? They're one and the same. So when we talk about your Capricorn house of group energy, professional group energy, it is all about things getting set into order, things being reestablished and saying, hey, I know we kind of got out of hand. We're going to take a look at this again, and we're going to set up some new rules, some new guidelines, maybe additional rules, possibly, or maybe we're going to do away with a certain rule. On a big scale, this could be interesting when we talk about, the world, because we're all living in a world of new rules right now in light of that we're all in a pandemic. So when we look at that, it'll be just pay attention, just keep your ears open, pay attention to what's going on around you on the big level, on the big scale, on the macro, to see what happened, what changes took place. So for you, all right, so Pisces ascendant, Pisces rising, that happens like at the 27th, 28th of September. Now, when we move along to October, here's your big bonus. You had to wait, and I want to make sure you have a bonus. We're going to talk about October. There will be things occurring in the month of October that are going to be transformational for the month of November. This is the month. October is the month I'm calling the setup, because we have 2 full moons in October, okay? 2 full moons. Normally you have a full moon and a new moon in a month, and that's typical because it's an every 2-week cycle, right? You have your full moon, 2 weeks later, you have your new moon. 2 weeks later, you have your full moon. It's just like that. October 1st, the first full moon, and this is at 9 degrees in Aries energy. Means you've got the sun over here at 9, and you've got the moon at the exact opposite at 9. All right, so it's the sun in Aries at 9, which means automatically the moon is in Libra. Aries is self, me, and Libra is partnerships, we. If you don't remember anything else about those 2 signs, this will go a long way if you can remember this. Aries is me, all right? Now, its ruler is Mars energy. And that Martian energy is all about the physical body and its ability to take action, its ability to do what it wants when it wants to do it, its ability to fight, to never back down, to never give up, to keep going. Mars is that Marine, it's the first one out of the gate, wants to be the pioneer, wants to be the one that discovery. Aries loves to discover something, especially about self. When we look at your Arian energy, it's in your 2nd house of money, okay? 2nd house of money. Aries energy for Pisces ascendant. Now, Pisces ascendant, I've said this 1,000 times and I'll keep saying it, a Pisces ascendant is not the same as a Pisces sun sign. You can watch this if you're a Pisces sun sign. But if you have a Pisces sun sign, there is no guarantee that this Aries energy is in your 2nd house. If you want a guarantee of where your Aries energy is located, comment below to me your birth digits, and I can find out exactly where your Aries energy is located for you. And that is based on your birth time, birth date, birth city, birth state. Having this Arian energy in your 2nd house, and we're having a full moon there, it will be uncomfortable because of the fact that we have Chiron. Chiron is all about our old wounds, wounds about who we are, wounds about our identity, wounds about our appearance, wounds about my body, wounds about our body. Chiron is at like 7 degrees and the full moon's at 9, which means the full moon will be pretty much full as it passes over Chiron at 7 degrees. In a period of 2 hours, the moon has moved a degree. No, I mean, within 1 hour, it's moved half a degree. Maybe I said that. Anyway, blah, whatever. The moon is already a high level of emotions. And being in Aries energy, it's going to be a high level of emotions about myself. Now, because Chiron's going to be part of the picture, right? See how complex it gets? We've got Aries, my body, and Mars, I want to fight. I won't back down. I'm very fired up. I'm hot. I'm standing still. Recognize that Mars is in the sign of Aries going backwards right now, which also lends to this Arian energy being very much about, no, I'm not backing down this time. So many times in the past, I've stayed quiet. I kept my peace. This time, I'm not only willing to stand up, but I am willing to fight. And so this is, yes, speaking with the body, this is definitely protesting. At this full moon, we have Mars, and Mars right on top of Eris. Eris is the female warrior. She's not happy because Eris is used to being told to sit down and be quiet and that you don't count. And now that Mars is on top of Eris, Mars gives her more fuel. Okay? Mars gives her the ability to stand up and gives her the weapons. Literally, because Mars was born with knives, a knife in each hand. Mars is that fighter. So we've got that going on, right? And then you've got the full moon, which is, the moon, high level of emotions. And these emotions are all about, I need to take action. I need to be doing something. I need to be physically moving, right? This is a great energy to use to go and work out, which would be my recommendation. If you are feeling, remember the full moon energy, depending upon your level of sensitivity, a couple days before. Now, the reason we're talking about this is because I just got done talking about Saturn standing still. And when Saturn stands still, it will be exactly squaring, not the full moon, but it will be squaring that Martian energy. Okay, Mars in Aries. All right, Saturn is in Capricorn energy, and the Capricorn energy in Saturn is roughly at 25 degrees. Mars is at 24.48, so I would call that an exact square. Squares are 90 degrees away. They're uncomfortable. They're testing. They're tension. So when Saturn stands still and says, hey, we've got these new rules, or we're changing the rules, and it's squaring our physical body, and then there's a full moon a couple days after that, we can expect a level of activity. We can expect people taking actions. There's varying degrees of that. That could look extreme, or that could just look like somebody, getting mad and stomping their feet on the ground, okay? There are lots of different degrees of how that can look in your life. We're all aware, I think, of the high level of tension that is in our world right now, especially if you live in the United States. And I realize there's a whole lot of stuff going on everywhere else in the world, but it's only the United States chart that I have taken special interest in because I live in the States, and because, well, the United States is literally in the midst of the beginning of the next American Revolution / part 2 to the Civil War. And we see this. It's not because I'm making it up and that I'm trying to add to that, or that I want that. No, I don't want that. I don't want anybody to ever have to go and use violence or physical action that harms another to get their point across. That's a last resort for me. I feel saddened when that happens, because I feel as though, why couldn't there have been another way? Why did it have to come to this, right? I think that we should be able to sit down and talk and figure out what's important to this person, what's important to this person. And there should be some way that we can come to terms together where we can compromise to figure things out, and so many of the things that we're observing, it's really because we're seeing all these inequality, right? We see this injustice that's occurring, and this is a very good possibility we may see something more like that. And I'm not going to go into much more detail about that, other than that on an individual level, what do you do for yourself in your life? What is it that you can do? What is it that you can do to ensure that you stay healthy, that you stay safe? Take care of yourself, take care of your body. Send harm to no one. Remember, folks, energy is a boomerang, and what we put out there does come back to us. And that's not to be about, hey, you better not do this, you better not do that. No, it's simply this is a natural law that has existed since before man could read, before man could speak. This just is what is. And when you understand that, when you live that way, then you really do comprehend that with every action there is a reaction, right? And that you want to always think before acting, think before speaking. And that is what the Martian energy lacks, okay? So the goal when we have a full moon in a sign is to understand its vices. And Mars's vices is it does not talk about it. It just goes ahead and does it. It says, you know what, enough of talk. I'm taking action. And it just goes and it does, because it feels as though it cannot be heard any other way unless it takes action. But we want to be smart. We want to stay safe. And whatever action we take, if it's doing something that's good for the long term, we want that to be good that's going to last, not a temporary good. We want to build a long-term lasting thing. Now, I know it gets complicated, and I won't go any further than that, other than to say, when we look at energies, and when I look at it here, here's Mars, here's Aries, at the opposite is Libra. Mars is me, and I'm taking action. I'm not thinking about it. I don't care. I'm going, I'm doing it, or I'm lashing out, because Mars is this. It acts out. It has these energetic bursts that are not necessarily predictable. It is, they're just these bursts, these random bursts of energy that can be violent, right? It's that energy where you can go from 0 to 10 in no time at all. But we want to be able to incorporate and go to the opposite side of that energy. We want to go up. We want to elevate it to the Libra side, which is fair, right? Which is, let's talk, let's compromise, let's sit down and work this out. That's what the Libran energy does. It says, let's communicate. Libra is ruler's Venus, so it wants to talk and communicate, and it wants it to be beautiful. It wants it to be fair. Remember, fair is a big deal. So at the time of this, because the sun's over there in Libra, and Libra represents fair, think about the law, the balances, right? Think about that. And so there may be something that's happening at this time where we may hear something, right, in the greater world going on. A full moon is a time of release. So in the beginning of the month of October, coming up off of Saturn standing still, there is something that will be happening. Now, for you in your life, your Libran energy being at the opposite of your second house means it's in your 8th house. So your second house your second house Aries energy is my values. I value my body. I value my appearance. That's for damn sure, right? Someone who they are and how they look, how they appear would be a big deal to this person. And Aries has a tendency to be very young when it comes to that. So there's just this development of, there's more to beauty than what's on the surface. It's really below the surface that is the real beauty. And it learns that when it goes up here and it goes to Venus energy. So your Venus energy in Libra is in your 8th house. So your 8th house energy, right? It's the opposite of my values. The 8th house then is our values, our money. Okay. Aries energy in the second house. Second house is my values, but it's also self-love. Do I value myself? Do I value my body? And if you value yourself, if you value your body, you understand that you have to take care of the body. It's this vessel, it's this vehicle, and it has to be maintained. It has to be properly cared for. And so you may find, there's a squirrel messing around with me outside the window. You may find that you have to do things to keep the body functioning, just like you take the car for an oil change and you fill it up with gas and you have all the maintenance done on it. And that's the body. And when we get the aha that, okay, I value this, we take care of what we value much differently then. We treat it in a way where it looks, and we can tell that you're taking care of it, right? And so there may be something that's going on with that for you right now at this time, okay? Normally a full moon means that we release something, right? We release a value that we held on to. And so possibly, right? Possibly for Pisces ascendant, Pisces rising, there was this value on the external. And so you might be releasing that. You have free will. So you let me know what it is that you're releasing down below in the comments. I'd love to meet you there. I'd love to hear your story. I would love to hear about what's going on in your life. Second house is what I value. 8th house is our values, right? So this is, you're in business partnerships. These are people you're really connected to in a deeply energetic way, okay? It's people that you just connect with very easily. You don't have to do a lot of work. You meet them, you start talking, and it just clicks. You energetically blend very easily. There's things that go on, and it's going to have to do with our values about myself and values about what we value, okay? And there's this light that happens. There's this big aha, because that's what a full moon is. The sun and the moon together, the moon is a reflection of the sun's light. And typically, our eyes open up and we see something we didn't see before. And when we see that thing or that piece of information or that person in a new light, we change what we value. Maybe somebody speaks to us in a certain way and we decide, okay, I'm not having that anymore, right? And so we just go through life. Life teaches us so much, right? And it's not always fun. It's not always comfortable. It's usually uncomfortable. Like the big lessons are usually not that comfortable. So this is a big aha of some sort that's changing. Now, as the month of October goes on, we are going to have Pluto standing still. Yes, Pluto will stand still in this month. And when Pluto stands still, all you got to know is the keywords for Pluto. Pluto is all about power, but Pluto is also fear, okay? So when Pluto stands still, there's going to be an elevation in fear at that time. Now, that could be on a very small scale in your life, and it could also be in a big scale. Without a doubt, it will be on a larger scale. It'll be a fear within big structures, with things that have been built up over a long period of time because it's in Capricorn. Yes, Saturn's in Capricorn, Pluto's in Capricorn, Jupiter's in Capricorn. And they're all hanging out at like the same area, okay? On October 3rd, Pluto stands still. So again, when Pluto stands still, anytime a planet stands still, you feel its power. Yeah, we're going to feel some power. It's going to be government power, without a doubt. It's political, it's governments showing their power to the people. Showing their power, because it's squaring the people, it's squaring our bodies, which means typically it's like, okay, you can't do this, right? We're being told more rules. So it's a really good possibility that's going to happen again, and it doesn't have to mean a complete and total shutdown. We'll see, right? Different states are in, different modes. But again, it's Pluto and Saturn working together because now Saturn will be moving direct, okay? Pluto will be standing still. And when this happens, what will happen is if Saturn is very slow. So when it gets direct and it's moving forward at 25 degrees, it won't be right on top of Pluto. But what's going to happen is we're going to see the planet Jupiter catch up to Pluto. Jupiter and Pluto will stand together, okay? And this already happened before. This happened in the spring, right? For those who live in the States, this happened in the spring. We had that like March, January, February-ish, March-ish is when that happened. And again, Jupiter adds to things. So if Jupiter sits on top of Pluto, Jupiter adds to Pluto's power, okay? Jupiter can also add to Pluto's fear. And Jupiter isn't really as gift-giving in Capricorn energy. Jupiter at the degrees that it's at, sending some nice trying type of energy to the earth signs, to Virgo and to Taurus energy. You have Pluto standing still in your 11th house. This is all about your 11th house. So this is all, again, a big emphasis on your professional work life. So just focus on what you need for your work in the long term, your professional career, because this has everything to do with your money. How you operate in a group, how you operate, I can't say the word operate, operating professionally in a group and being able to, you may have to walk away from a place. You may be at odds and you may say to yourself, I'm against this. I don't believe in this. What's being asked of me is out of the question. Or you see that there are certain rules that aren't happening, that aren't being followed. I can only guess at this point because there's just so much going on. There's so many levels to this, so many different layers to the energy.